Yeah. So, like, what? So I decided to turn on a game here, because I was like, we haven't done Genesis in a while, so let's play some Genesis games here.
Oh, nice. I just saw what you changed the title to, and I'm like, yes. Actually, I was thinking about requesting this at one point for us to go through again. Now, for those who don't know, this is obviously X-Men 1. The plot for this game is the Danger Room has gone, like, completely crazy, and you choose your X-Men, and you go into a virtual reality version of a world, and you kill everything you come across. This is probably, not even probably, this was the first good X-Men game.
Well,
Like, before
well,
this, there's, like, that crappy Nintendo one, and...
I
Actually,
think
no, did the arcade one predate this?
that's all I'm gonna say. The arcade one predates that by like a lot.
Okay, never mind. So this was the second good X-Men game, the first, of course, being the arcade game, which I love, and I'm so glad I got it when it was still on Xbox 360, even though my 360 is dead. So, of course, first level Savage Land, for those who haven't already figured out what this whole jungle thing is. And it's really kind of cool. The characters look exactly like the 90s versions of the characters. They all have their moves. Wolverine has his claws, and Nightcrawler can teleport, sort of. I could never get Nightcrawler's teleport to work the way I wanted it to work. And my stream is frozen.
No, it's me.
Oh, you pause the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just checking out some things like
And yeah, there's Jean Grey for her little Dude, this era, was she called Jean Grey or was she called Marvel Girl again?
No, this was like right after, like just after Cyclops and Jean married again.
Okay, so yeah, she just stopped using a code name. I thought that was dumb. Like, okay, yeah, she was a little old to be Marvel Girl, but like, because that was a decent name, decent enough for a teenager, but not quite so great for an adult. And they could have given her some other name, like Psychic Woman. Okay, never mind. Look, I'm not good at coming up with names.
Yeah, you're not Mystique.
Yeah.
Because apparently, thanks to this new continuity, she invented everybody's code names.
Only in the movie continuity.
Yeah, but it's like yeah.
Current comic continuity for X-Men, I refuse to read. I'm so burned out on the insanity that is the X-Men comics that like I can't right now. But I am actually enjoying some of the Avengers comics that have been coming out recently. Just talking with my brother, my younger brother, about the new Avengers. I know redundancy, people, but like the new volume of New Avengers, where they're Roberto da Costa from New Mutants basically bought AIM and is now like basically has his own illegal Avengers team with a bunch of AIM, B-suit guys. And I'm really kind of digging the story and stuff. It's also the story where they introduced American Kaiju, when a handful of people were getting really excited about that.
Yeah, my friend, one of my friends I talked to a lot, his name was Fred. When he first saw that, he like literally, he flipped out because he likes those things, and it's like
it was a fun story. It was just like, hey, we decided to use a Hulk program that just created a kaiju for us to use in extreme circumstances. Oh, by the way, these Avengers are illegally operating, so let's just go send our giant monster after them. And I thought that was kind of awesome. And of course, the AIM Avengers have their own giant robot, because of course they do.
Yeah, I mean they're part of AIM now. Why
wouldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really did like that. I do like the story thus far. I need to catch up on the newest issue just came out, and then I've actually, out of morbid curiosity, been reading through what they have thus far of Civil War II, which is okay.
It's just, it's Civil War by name only. But then
Well,
again,
it's one of those ones where like I get this disagreement, but this doesn't feel like a disagreement where people should be punching each other. You know, I was talking to someone yesterday about it, and I was like, this right now for why they're gonna fight each other feels like a pro wrestling like reason. You know, in pro wrestling you can have that thing where it's like, oh, you took my parking space. Now we need to have a pro wrestling match. You know, they can have those asinine excuses for why we need to punch each other in the face. And this one feels like it's in that category. It's like, yeah, Tony's pissed about stuff that happened. I won't spoil anything for those who are curious about reading. But something happens. Tony gets upset about it. But it doesn't feel like it's enough for him to want to attack Carol Danvers and her team. And if he does, then it kind of makes him an aggressive asshole. Where, look, I'm with Tony in this one. I completely agree with his point of view. But I'm not going to punch someone in the face over it. Versus, say, you know, the original Civil War, when Cap says, no, I'm not going to register, Maria Hill pulls a gun on him and unloads an entire, attempts to murder Captain America. And so, yeah, that's an outright sign of not only did S.H.I.E.L.D. attack you, but now we're going to send every S.H.I.E.L.D. trooper we have after you and your friends until you register. So if that made sense for why they're fighting each other, and it was unfortunate that, you know, some of the characters, you know, chose the sides they chose, but at least it made sense. In this one, there's yet to be the reason. What is happening doesn't feel like a good enough reason for everyone to punch each other. And technically, there is no hero punching heroes as of Chapter 1. But Chapter 1 has another issue, which is the fact that the Free Comic Book Day Civil War tie-in like shows you the fight that they don't show you otherwise. And that feels really sloppy to me, because had I not read that, which is why I decided to check this out, because the story itself, I was like, okay, this is intriguing enough. I'll give this a shot. I wouldn't have known what the hell happened. It would just be like a tell not show kind of thing from Carol's perspective. Because it's following Tony, and then Carol's like, oh yeah, this, and this happened. I'm like, why didn't they show us the scene from the Free Comic Book Day thing? Because what if, you know, you didn't do a Free Comic Book Day thing? You would have no idea what the hell is going on. So maybe they'll show it in one of the tie-in books. Maybe it'll be in part 2. It'll start from Carol's perspective and show the fight. I don't know, but either way, that seems like a really sloppy way of doing things. And this is Brian Michael Bendis running this, which, to me, Bendis is not that great at doing action, but he is really, really good at doing dialogue.
Yeah.
Except for when he writes the X-Men, then he makes all of them emo, and I hate it. But when he writes the Avengers, or Spider-Man, or Iron Man, which he's currently doing the Iron Man run, so guess who's going to win this? Bendis is doing the Iron Man run. I wonder who will win Civil War 2.
I don't know. The guy who's making a lot of money the guy that's not making a lot of money in the box office right now.
So, yeah, I mean, it was the same thing when Avengers vs. X-Men came out, and one of my friends was like, you know what, I'd be way more excited about this, except for the fact that the 3 writers of this are all it's the guy who wrote Captain America, the guy writing the Avengers, and it's the guy writing, like, Thor. He's like, boy, I wonder who's going to win when all the writers are working on Avenger tied-in books. And it's just like, yeah, that doesn't...
Yeah, there's no there is no like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here?
The writer isn't a neutral party.
Yeah.
You have a writer who's already working on a series. Like, what's this way? Let's say Iron Man wasn't involved in this event at all, and it was, you know, let's just say Captain Marvel and Hawkeye. Okay? And Brian Michael Bendis was writing it. I would be like, okay, this works, because he's not really working on either of their books, and I don't think he would have any general bias towards one character or another when coming up with a story idea. But look, I mean, if Avengers vs. X-Men, which Bendis also did work on that, but he was writing Avengers at the time, and then took over the X-Men, which was a bad idea in my opinion, but whatever. Some people like Bendis' work on X-Men, and that's fine. They're allowed to. But it was one of those things where if let's just say it was that, but it was Bendis, it was Claremont, and it was fudge, what's his name? Who was working on Legacy at the time?
I was gonna say John Bryan, but I'm pretty sure he's been blackballed by by a lot of people by now.
Let's go with Brian Wood, because he's worked on X-Men, Chris Claremont, and Jason Aaron. Okay, they've all written X-Men at one point. Chris Claremont obviously written the most X-Men of anyone ever. Let's say the three of them were writing Avengers versus X-Men. I wouldn't sit there and go like, boy, I wonder if the Avengers have a chance in this. Like, no, the X-Men win this because it's three guys who've all done really good X-Men stories. And it's kind of that's my problem with this. When I see writer Brian Michael Bendis, and that's the only name I see, and I go, well, he's writing Iron Man, so I know where this is going. And look, I agreed with Iron Man, regardless, like in terms of the morality of what they're doing. Yes, that's the one that I would side with too. But I still don't feel that he has any real excuse or reason to punch Carol Danvers in the face. So I don't know what the plan with this is per se.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, I look what the conflict is. I'm not really feeling this. And like,
I'm not either.
It's like I saw what it is, and I'm like, well, this could have been easily like an Avengers comic book, like very easily, just another Avengers comic book, and I would have been perfectly okay with it.
Well, here's the thing: is I recently read Standoff just because I wanted to get back into the Avengers thing and to see what was going on with the Avengers in the current run. And the Standoff to me felt like a much more interesting event than this one has so far, because right from the get-go, just on the concept level of what Standoff is about, with this virtual reality, not even virtual reality prison, this like reality-altering prison, that's pretty awesome. I'm like, dude, that's freaking some 1984 shit right there. And you know, that to me, I'm like, yeah, I could totally see. In fact, had you made a Civil War thing built more around that, that would have made actually a lot more sense to me, because I'd be like, yeah, there's the people who could say, no, this prison works, it keeps the criminals from ever committing crimes again. And then there's people going like, yeah, except for it's a whole like abuse of civil liberties and things like that. If Standoff was the point for this fight, that would have made a lot more sense to me. And I would have been like, yes, because you can argue both sides and you can feel both sides being very valid in their opinions. Versus, you know, this point of view, yeah, you can argue both sides, but these don't feel like this is a philosophical argument, not a personal rights and personal freedoms argument. This isn't a.
It's like, Carol Danvers, you stink. That's where it is.
Yeah, in the original Civil War, if you didn't register, you were sent to the negative zone. You know, that's kind of a harsh punishment for not agreeing with wanting the whole world to know who you are and what your weakness is. You know, and
Go stop, puppy.
you know, I'm sure there's something right now where I'm trying to think of a person, right? Oh, one took the one dude's trombone from not American, what the hell are they called? Free, what the fuck are they called? The
New Day.
New Day, thank you, Free Day. Where the hell is that coming from?
So basically, you're equating
a triple threat match, you know, and
so you're equating this to them to like Carol Danvers stealing Francesca from Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It is something that you could probably, it might cause an argument, but it feels like this could be handled with a simple discussion.
Yeah.
And not so much a we need to punch each other in the face. And you know, as I said, it's just pro wrestling does that a lot, where it's a minor problem that could be solved with like, oh man, I'm sorry I took your parking space. I didn't know that was yours. You know. And
like, you spilled coffee on me. Guess what? Now we gotta fight, and then we're gonna put the title on the line.
Yeah, or we put the title on the line because you bumped into me in the hallway. You know, I'm like, that's not how things work in real life. In fact, if anything, pro wrestling is teaching kids a terrible lesson about like solving your problems through violence. But again, yeah, this feels like a stupid argument versus, hey, this is a major violation of rights or something. And
yeah, and that was the thing. If anything, I give like as much shit as I give Civil War, like everything revolving around Civil War. Shit, at least I'll give them this much. The conflict was at least like was realistic enough for me to believe that it was believable. So I'll give them that. Cause like other than like some like the loyalties and stuff like that, I don't know how I felt about that at the end of the day. But
yeah, there's certain characters I'm like, why would you side with this person or that? That makes no sense. And some retcons made afterwards through Secret Wars and stuff like that. Not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion and stuff like that kind of added a little bit of retconniness to stuff. But it's still one of those things where some of the choices made during that comic series made no sense. But at least the conflict itself had validity.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you and I was like, I don't know about that, like this. So
this feels like this should be a two-parter argument. That this is a two-parter or a three-part story arc or something. This doesn't feel like this should be an event comic. And maybe things will change. Maybe there'll be some big, huge change, but when, it's not feeling like that's going to happen. But we'll see. This is Bendis, like I said. He's good at doing dialogue, not so good at doing action. I mean, hell, the last issue of Invincible Iron Man, and I think the last issue of International Iron Man had like zero action. And oh no, Iron Man did. It did have some action because he fought those ninja guys. But International Iron Man, if you're looking for some cool Iron Man action, you will not find it in that book. That is all. Let's just explore Tony Stark's past, and then let's go and have him have a long dialogue about, love and life and whatever. And look, I like that book. I am a dialogue person, and that's when Bendis does dialogue, I enjoy my Bendis dialogue. But when it's coming to this whole, we're gonna have a huge fight between heroes, and this is our BS reason for it, I'm like, come on, there's 100 reasons you could come up with why there'd be a division in the beliefs between heroes. Plus, Carol Danvers and her team are working in space, so they can tell Tony to just piss off, and they can go back to space. It's like,
hey, it worked for Nova.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of Civil War. It's like, here's Nova, like, dude, there's shit happening in space, and he's like, no, why don't you help us on Earth? Like, no, fuck you, I'm going back to space. I'm gonna be a real hero.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of Civil War. Like of everything, it's like, here's like like, say what you will about Nova, like Richard Rider, but he was right. He was right to say, like, fuck you. I got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Well, it was one of the better parts of that story where a handful of characters were like, nope, this is retarded. And that was the same thing with The Thing, though that's not exactly how he said it. But for the first part of that story, he was just like, nope, not doing this. Going to Canada. Screw you all. I'm out. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Because, like, I mean, that's the same thing I liked with a Black Panther in that. His wedding occurs in the middle of Civil War, for those who might not be aware of that. And his whole thing is like, hey, I'm a neutral party in this. Tony, Rogers, Stark, talk this out. And they're like, no. And he's like, guys, come on. Talk this out. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of T'Challa on this one. You guys have known each other for a long time. Talk this crap out. But then we learn why Tony's acting like such a douche. And then you go, oh, okay. That kind of makes sense. But yeah, the comic was flawed, but it had its moments. This new one, it just feels like, why? And okay, yes, I know why, because the movie just came out with that title. But
and it's sad, and it's even sad that the movie actually does a better job at establishing a better conflict than this comic book.
Yes. So it is one of those things where it definitely feels like this feels really forced and just a marketing gimmick. And it's not like that's the first time Marvel or DC or anyone else has done that. So it's not like I'm like, oh my god, something gimmicky and to try to improve sales. What?
Like, come on, we've all fallen into that trap with those holographic comic books. Come on.
Yeah. Attack of the Clones. So, yeah, I'm going to be trying to. Well, the other thing I'm actually going to try to check out this week is I'm trying to do a. Who the hell is that?
It's Juggernaut.
Is it Juggernaut? It's Juggernaut. Okay. Just running so fast, I was having difficulty because I saw Juggernaut before in first mission. Because I remember that. I just like, I can't remember who the boss, the other sub boss is here. This is the mission where you have to reset the game.
Yeah.
I hated that because, like all kids, I had no idea what the hell happened, what was wrong, and then someone eventually told me, and I was like, "Oh, that's dumb."
Hopefully, emulation will let me go through that. But if not, I saw there's a cheat code I can use to get us out to
Yeah,
get.
there's a stage select in this. That's how I always got past it when I was a kid until I learned. Which is interesting that I would know the cheat code from someone teaching me the cheat code, but I wouldn't know that, oh, by the way, you just hit reset them. Yeah, we'll find out. So one of the things I'm going to try to start doing as part of my reviews is to do like the comics I've been reading this week. So I've been trying to gather together my issues and figure out what I want to read. But one of the things that's on my list is the couple of the issues of the new DC Rebirth stuff came out, and I know nothing about the DC Rebirth.
You either, from what I heard, you're either gonna really like it or you're gonna be really pissed off at it.
Wasn't that the most people's description of the new 52?
No, because they did something like direct con or everything. They kind of did something interesting to like. By interesting, I mean it's like something that I don't think anybody should have done. But they did anyway. So let's see what happens. Let's see how you feel about it.
The thing is that this week, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Flash Rebirth 1 came out. So I haven't read the actual whatever triggered all this. I'll just be jumping into their stories or whatever ones of those I decide. I'm gonna read Wonder Woman just because I'm curious.
Wonder Woman Wonder Woman at least should be really good. Like I like the writer, I like the person who's writing it right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip a coin on Aquaman or Flash. I don't think I'm gonna read both unless I really like the first two. Then maybe I'll go and read the third. Maybe this will be my excuse for getting back into DC again. And I know they've already released like Batman and I think Superman and stuff already.
Yeah.
With it. So let me know when I need to keep my eyes open for when there's Green Lantern and some of the other characters I really like. But I've never really been that big of a Flash fan.
I think Green Lantern. I think that one's gonna be like a multiple series.
Okay.
Because I think there's gonna be like Green Lantern Corps, and then there's gonna be like Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, and then I don't know what else. I think they're gonna do like another like Green Lantern spin-off as well.
They did in the 52, because in the 52 you had Green Lantern Corps, and Green Lantern New Guardians, and then technically Red Lanterns, and then eventually the Larfleeze series, which I couldn't stand. And Red Lanterns also was kind of bad, just because half the time it was Atrocitus being emo. And the one thing that will kill me on any comic series is a character being emo. Because, well, I have the same issue with comic book characters being emo that I do with mecha pilots being emo. You have superpowers, shut the fuck up. / you have a mecha, shut the fuck up. Because that's always been my thing with that. When, here it is. Because it was always my thing. I'm like, dude, if I could pilot a mecha, I would not be emo about piloting a mecha. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm piloting a freaking mecha! And the same thing with superpowers. Like, I understand certain characters, I'll let it slide. When Peter Parker goes a little emo, I'm kind of fine with it, because basically Peter Parker is written in the style of life always takes a crap on me. So when you're written in the style of life takes a crap on me, you have an excuse to be a little bit emo every once in a while. You know, not as your default, but having your issues with, you know, my wife's angry at me, or my Aunt May is pissed that I missed her birthday, or anything along those lines. Perfectly fine with that kind of stuff. This is such a dumb version of this boss fight.
Yes, it is.
I'm absorbing energy, and then you're just gonna pick away at me.
Yay, Mojoverse.
But yes, the worst apocalypse fight ever.
Yep.
And yes, the area that I would write a story about would be Mojoverse. I would write about it even if I wasn't using X-Men characters. If I was doing an Avengers story, I'd still give an excuse to go to the Mojoverse. I freaking love the Mojoverse. But yeah, I'm going to read the first two of that. Hopefully I'm not too lost. If I am, then I'll just make note of it in my review. And then I have a couple Marvel things I'm going to read this week as well. I want to try out some other stuff, but the problem is, like, when I'm looking at things and I'm like, yeah, you know, I wouldn't mind to throw some Sonic or some G.I. Joe or whatever in there. But when I look at the numbers, I'm like, oh shit, I would feel really weird jumping in like on number 217 or something.
I should let you know they're gonna reboot everything. They're gonna reboot the entire universes of Transformers and G.I. Joe. But they keep them.
I like that or I don't like it.
What?
I said I don't know if I like that or don't like that. On the one hand, it'd be nice for me to jump in, because I'd start them as part of my Friday reviews. Because I'm always look, I haven't read like Transformers or G.I. Joe comics since the 80s. So that's the thing with me. And I know you were trying to get me in, and I just didn't. It was at a time when I think it was near my move or just after my move to Boston, and it was just like, this is not the time for me to try to get into a whole thing.
And not only that, it's like I will try to explain to you, like try to sell you on the, it's like, and you'd be like, what? 2 different series, 2 different teams? Like, what's going on? Who's on what team? Megatron's a good guy? What the fuck are you on, Ramses? Come on.
Yes, a lot of that too. And that's not your fault. You tried your best. It was coming in at the wrong time in my life. And I was just kind of like, no, I don't have time for this. And I've read or skimmed through modern G.I. Joe comics. And G.I. Joe is the one series I really would like to get into, because I think as an ongoing, that would be the most fun. Not only do you have a huge team you can work with, but you also could do a lot more darker stories than you could in the old 80s cartoon. Because I read the 80s comics, which always had darker stories than the old 80s cartoon.
Well, yeah, I think
we're going a bit heavier than we would normally.
I think in the current comic books, in the current continuity, I think they're like Cobra's still at it. But the thing is,
yeah. That was the last issue. There is one I tried to read. I tried to read, I think, Agent of Cobra or something like that.
Yeah, Snake Eyes Agent of Cobra, basically.
And I read I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on in the first issue.
Yeah, because they were trying to do at the time. They were trying to like Snake Eyes had not appeared in the comic books for a very long time before then. What they tried to do is they tried to establish that during all this time he'd been like brainwashed to working with Cobra. And like that was pretty much the whole story with that.
Yeah, so coming in and them not clearly explaining that in the first issue just made me go, fuck this.
And then it's like, what, they had like recently they had Cobra World War, in which literally Cobra declares World War III.
Okay.
Like they're like, you know, we got forces all around, and I think what ends up happening is like it's kind of like a 3-way, like a kind of a multiple-way war. So it's not just Cobra, like it's Cobra within themselves. But I think it's Cobra within themselves fighting off themselves at times. And you have one faction that's led by Destro, one of them led by Cobra Commander, one of them by the Baroness, and they're all pretty much like trying to vie for control of Cobra themselves.
Okay.
And I think
it sounds like you get really convoluted trying to remember which Cobra guy's on which team, but other than that, that could actually be kind of fun.
Well, it's not like you haven't done that before in the comics. This was like if you remember the times during the great times during when they had what's his face Serpentor, there was a great divide between Serpentor and Cobra Commander.
Yes.
And that led to like one of my
favorite. Because it's like dude comes in and just usurps control, and it's like no.
And what's great is that like they did something interesting where it's like okay yeah he usurps control and all of a sudden you're like. Cobra Commander's like, well, not on my watch, and then it also helps that like the Cobra Commander that was in control wasn't really Cobra Commander. It was just some dude who wore the mask.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, he kind of went over his head on everything. He's like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just wearing the mask. I'm just wearing this dumb armor that he made for me. I don't know why. I'm just a lawyer, goddammit.
Yeah, which is kind of ruins it for me. I mean, it would explain, like, hey, look, if that happened to be the case in the 80s cartoon, I'm like, that actually explains a lot. I don't know what I'm doing. No shit. But, like, in the comic, but if I was reading it through an ongoing comic series or something like that, I would feel very, like, ripped off, because I'm like, oh, come on. Like, that's just a stupid retcon that I don't like.
Yeah, alright.
But yeah, that's one of the things I was looking over some of the other releases from some other companies. Like, they have the new Xena comic series and stuff like that, that I'm like, oh, it's like, who's making issues in? And I could catch up on the back one so I can actually understand what's going on in this issue, but I don't know. I can't get myself excited about it. Versus, like I said, if it was, you know, a new G.I. Joe series or a new, you know, something from the 80s, I might be a little more excited about it. Hell, if there was a new He-Man comic, I might get into that.
There is a new He-Man comic.
Oh.
It's made by DC.
Oh no shit.
And they actually did a team up. They actually did a crossover G.I. Masters of the Universes versus DC.
Huh.
Yeah, and what I like is that my only problem with that comic is that they kind of restart to a lot of like older stories. That's like you kind of already know the story. You don't need to tell me the story. Yes, I know Adora. What used to be like was with the Horde for a while. Yes, I know she was like she was with the Horde for a while, but it's like this and that.
Versus me, where I probably have forgotten quite a bit of my He-Man trivia stuff. Because I don't remember. I'm sure if like I saw the stuff but then they were redoing it, I'm like, wait a second. Like I think I'd have that response to it. But if it's me, like right now, if we were just talking about it, it might be kind of hard for me to remember. Because He-Man continuity is not something I know particularly well.
I don't think anybody does. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've come to a realization.
Which is probably why they have to redo stuff to get people to go like, oh, okay, thank you. And I shouldn't just be reading like comics out of the 80s, because or comics based on 80s franchises rather, just because there's probably a lot of really good independent things that I've just never really read. But you know, it's trying to find that jump in point. Yeah, Saga's great and all, but jumping in on issue 102 is probably not my best choice. You know, and there's series that I was reading that I've since stopped, like Walking Dead and stuff like that, where I'm sure I could take some time and catch up on what I need to catch up on Walking Dead, and maybe I will. But it's definitely one of those things where, you know, obviously for the time being, I can't review, you know, Walking Dead issue 150 something because I stopped at like issue 120 something, and I'm just going to get confused and lost, or I'm going to have major spoilers that are really going to piss me off. You killed who? Oh, screw you, book. Screw you. So, yeah.
Where's Longshot when you need him? Anyways, you going?
I love Mojo's design. I know we could have instead had a whole discussion about, you know, the Mojoverse and stuff like that. And...
No, that's fine. I'm kind of being distracted here because like apparently, you mind waiting for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me do something. I gotta do something really quick. Hold on.
Man, how far back am I? If you've already stopped and the game's still going. There it is. Okay, so I was only about 10 seconds behind. I'll just twiddle my thumbs for a while. I'll be right here, okay?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I forgot I can switch. I forgot to switch character. I forgot I can switch character like this.
Oh, on the fly?
Yeah, on the fly.
Yeah, there's a way to... Thought it was done through, like, the pause screen, but... It's been way too long since I played that game.
Yeah.
We're talking like elementary school or something like that. I remember when I played that game, I started drawing out maps for, like, the sequel because I was 12, and that's what 12-year-olds do. And, you know, and this time they're going to be fighting Mr. Sinister in this stage, and this is how Mr. Sinister's boss fight is, and all that kind of stupid crap you did as a kid. Which some people are going like, I did that stupid crap as a kid, and I got a job in gaming. What the hell is your problem? Like, I'm a writer, and writers aren't really required in a lot of gaming. That's why.
There you go. It does work. Okay, cool.
Huzzah, the game is not broken. Yeah, I got a good night's rest last night, but I still feel like going back to sleep.
I don't blame you. I feel the same way too.
Thing I've been dealing with. And it's just like, want sleep mode. But at this point, if I take a nap now, I'll be up at like 2 a.m. Which I guess means I could be online and we could do another stream again at like 2 in the morning.
I don't mind.
It'll be one of those things like we did one of the Saturdays or something, I think. I can't remember. You were playing like Ninja Turtles. And I think I was just playing Persona, or I was playing one of the Tales of games or something. I was just level grinding while you were going through Ninja Turtles. And I'm like, you know what, we need to do this more. But the only problem is it became less of a discussion like this. And that's the reason during this kind of things I try not to be too distracted. Like I'll play my DS or something, but I still want to keep my eye. It's okay, I can just quickly look back up at the screen and see what's going on. Because I still want to keep, I still want to make commentary about the games as you play them, and not just be completely distracted by what I'm playing. At the same time, if I can have a mundane task or do some level grinding, why not? But it is, getting back to our conversation about comics and stuff. I'm going to try this out, because I haven't done the This Week in Comics, what I read this week reviews. I haven't done those in a long time, so I'm going to see if I can have my schedule set up to do that. I'm just hoping I'm not biting off more than I can chew, because I'm trying not to do too many things. And there's certain comics that are not going to be read this week, even though they came out, because this week brought us Hodammer number 3, which I'm sure is just as big of a piece of shit as Hodammer numbers 1 and 2, and Darth Vader 21, which I'm sure is just as good as Darth Vader's 1 through 20. But, the teleportation that never works for me. Nightcrawler's teleportation just never did what I wanted to. I never could use it in any kind of strategically good way. It's like you're...
Oh, thanks a lot, G. Now you clip me to the fucking wall.
See? Told you!
Look at this bullshit!
Told you! Oh, never mind. I thought your teleport did it. Yeah, I just saw the Jean. Awesome. Jean Grey. 90s Jean Grey. Really useless.
Yeah, thanks a lot, cartoon, for making people think that she had like no real superpowers.
Yeah, the cartoon did a crap job of it. Also, I do love the fact that the cartoon just turned Storm into Thor.
Pretty much, yeah.
And sadly, that is one of my favorite versions of Storm, just because I love how over the top and crazy she is, or not crazy, but like bombastic. She's just incredibly bombastic, and I love it. The winds command the end of this evil. Like,
and that's a weird thing. It's like people have like it's weird whenever I talk to people about X-Men, like anything in general.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, and people are like always talking to me about like, you know, whenever they talk to me about like, you know, what they like about X-Men a lot.
Mm.
It's like you always say like I love how everybody's so bombastic, and they like the fact that Apocalypse was like this bombastic bad guy in a new movie. Like he monologue and all that bullshit. So it's like
He did that all the time in the comics too, actually. That is, the Apocalypse is bombast, but whenever it comes to the main characters, they usually are thinking of the '90s cartoon when they think of some of those personality traits. Because I'm like, yeah, the main comics did not have them, so there may have been some personality quirks and stuff in there, but like Storm has never been the or long bombastic speech to use her powers kind of thing. She just shove a lightning bolt up your ass. And you know, the Storm comic book version is usually one of my favorite X-Men, if not my favorite X-Men. And well, Nightcrawler actually, I think historically probably is. Well, Nightcrawler and Gambit have usually held my top spots, but Storm's always been high on my list. And you know, I love '90s cartoon Storm just because I love that bombast, but that's so not her personality. Storm doesn't talk like that unless, you know, that. But most of the characters in the '90s cartoon were not that over the top. And the '90s cartoon did a lot of things right, in my opinion, but some of the giving them slightly more Saturday morning cartoon personalities was one of the things I'm less fond of in that. And especially when rewatching it, you can only handle so many episodes in a row. Like when it's on Netflix, you really like marathon it, because after about 5 episodes, you need to like take your brain out and put it in a jar for a while.
Like you can only take Xavier screaming for so long.
Yeah. Ah! I saw visions.
That's the worst part is like you can tell that McElroy was channeling like TV Xavier when he was doing X-Men Apocalypse, because that's all he did like in the third half of the movie, the last third of the movie.
Just the groaning really loud and then talking like very melodramatically about the visions he's having.
Pretty much, yeah.
I haven't had the chance to see Apocalypse yet, just because the person I'm supposed to see it with has been out of town and stuff. So.
Oh, okay. That's a good movie.
Maybe we watch it together, so we will watch it together. I haven't heard negative. I've just been trying to avoid, you know, spoilers for a story that I know is nothing like the comic book arc it's, you know, based on.
If anything's more like the cartoon than anything.
Okay.
How am I supposed to beat you? For fuck's sakes.
I think he's a gimmick boss. I think there's some sort of gimmicky thing you're supposed to do.
I think so too. I don't know. Are you supposed to offer him tea and then like have an existential talk about what's wrong with the universe and like why we should spare man?
Did you pick up the chess set? Because if you don't have the chess set item, you can't actually beat him.
Oh, well, fuck! No wonder. So I forgot to bring my copy, and I forgot to bring my fucking copy of Once and Future King.
Yeah. I would never play chess with Charles Xavier because I'm like, dude, it's gonna totally cheat.
Okay, what the fuck do you want, Eric? Come on.
They always, like, never liked me as a person. I think they'd always like, Jared, you're a jerk. And I'm like, I'm not a jerk. You're the creepo who's going into people's brains.
That's why, like, when I first heard that Gene outed Iceman as gay, it's like, dude, it's like that's not cool. Like, you know, come on.
Current, like, young Jean Grey is the worst person ever.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And I'm like, why did you write her like this? Because this actually, you know, I'm like, I'm not the biggest Jean Grey fan historically, but You know, I wouldn't think that she would just invade people's privacy for the funsies. And that seems to be her shtick in this, with this young version of her, and I really don't like it. It's remained because like she has a little scene in the first issue of Civil War where or issue 0 maybe, it's either 0 or 1. She shows up and she has a little scene where she's basically she says a line like you know, don't worry, we won't be prying into any of your weird thoughts. And the guy goes, I don't have any weird thoughts. And Jean goes, everyone does. I mean, if you just knew what She-Hulk was thinking right now, whoa. And then it just shows She-Hulk and she's like, not cool. And I'm like, She-Hulk, you should have decked her for that one, because I would have. The hell are you doing going into my thoughts and seeing what I'm thinking about? Now, granted, if anyone who's going to have mental defenses, yeah, She-Hulk's probably low on that list. Not that Jen is like a dumb person by means. She just doesn't. She doesn't deal with psychics on that much of a basis. You know, do you want to just pause this and find out how to beat this guy?
No, I know what I'm supposed to do. I saw what happened.
Oh, okay, you actually hit him. There's a specific time he's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually easier for me to do it as Nightcrawler.
Huh.
The thing is, he's a bitch, and I have to like make sure you get that timing right. But
oh, I saw that. Okay.
yeah, because like when you know how he lowers his shield.
Yeah. Do that one attack, and you gotta get him when he's breaking gimmicky bosses.
At least the Super Nintendo one, this was easier.
I don't know if I ever played the Super Nintendo X-Men game.
So that's you're right.
Huh. It seems like I should have played that. I had a Super Nintendo and stuff. It just seems like it's just one of those ones that just never... I don't know. I know, you know what? I think I just never found a copy of it. That's probably what happened.
Hmm.
But I'm also lucky because I never played Silver Surfer, nor did I ever play X-Men on the NES. So I had a friend who owned the Silver Surfer game and liked it. I guess he was good at it. I really don't remember at this point. But I never played the game. I am proud of that. I think because as a kid I didn't really like the Silver Surfer, so I was like, why am I going to play a game based on a character I don't even particularly like? And then I don't think I just never saw a copy of the X-Men game anywhere. So I get the feeling if I co-opted that with my brother, I probably actually would have had a good enough time. I mean, the game is definitely flawed and what have you, but I think if you co-opted with a human, it probably would be kind of fun. It'd be fun because of the jokes we'd be making the whole time, actually. I don't like, the game itself isn't intrinsically fun from all the videos and stuff I've seen about the game, but, you know, me and my brother running around blasting people with lasers and stuff would have been fun. It'd have been worth a rental. But yes, lots of comic book talk. And the other thing I need to get around to doing is I need to reorganize my blog because I want to categorize stuff. And unfortunately, I'm not the person who's the expert at that kind of thing. I don't have access to right now. So because of that, I want to do that because there's entries and stuff I want to start writing. I want to continue on my Tales of blog and talk more about the various Tales games. The problem is, I think I finished on Eternia, but I'm not entirely certain, and I want to reorganize the blog so I don't A, rewrite something I already did, and B, I need to go back on Destiny, because the next game, in terms of major release, was Destiny 2, but I thought I covered that in my Destiny 1, and I don't know if I should just talk about it again, but there's not a lot I can say about it, because it's a Japan-only game, and I only know... I can only find... What I find about the plot is what I can find on the Wikipedias, you know? It's not no personal experience with that game. So it's that kind of thing with me where I'm like, I don't know how much I could write about Destiny 2. And I want to do a whole thing on Narakiri Dungeon, because I have that for Game Boy, but I can't progress in the game. So as much as I'd love to do a little short video on it, it would just be me going through the opening movie and then going from the 3 different towns, talking to everyone, trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do. But I want to find if there's someone out there who can write the first steps of that game so I can actually progress and show people how the game plays, because it's kind of cool. And then I have ROMs of Narakiri Dungeon 2 and 3 for Game Boy Advance I think it's Game Boy Advance. So I wouldn't mind to show those off as well as part of like just a whole Narakiri Dungeon entry. Just like, yeah, let's talk about these games and what they are, because they're all basically the same plot. Go into this dungeon that changes its floors every single time you go through. It's one of those procedurally generated dungeon kind of games, dungeon crawler. But you get to find, but based on different quests and stuff you do, you get characters from the various Tales games to team up on your team. Although some of the games, I think you get the ability to put on hats and stuff that transform you into those characters or something. Each game has a slightly different gimmick, but it's basically use the characters from the popular characters from the games, and go through this ever-changing dungeon to finish side quests. And eventually you get to like floor 100 or whatever, and you beat the game. And then the remake of the first game for PSP gave it a much deeper plot and tied it better in with Tales of Fantasia. So I'd like to play that. There is a translation project working on that, so that's one of the reasons we were talking PSP earlier, because of that. Because I think they've already finished the Tales of Fantasia side, it's just the Narakiri Dungeon X has not been finished yet, as far as I know. But I wouldn't mind to go through and have some video of that for people. Because that would be a fun addition to my Tales blog. But again, I need to reorganize stuff, because the only thing, because for the most part, the most consistent entry I still do is Poke Monday. But beyond that, I don't have, I'm trying to make more consistent entries, at certain days, but other than like my monthly Star Wars recap, which is why I won't be reading Star Wars as part of this week's review, because I'm going to save that for monthly Star Wars recap. Plus, with like the freaking crappy Poe Dameron ongoing that just sucks ass. That I won't be surprised if it gets canceled after like 6 or 7 issues. And hopefully it will be. Not because I want the writing stalled. No, I do want the writer to be fired. But the artist is pretty decent. And I feel bad for everyone going and making a shitty book, but at the same time, like, it's a shitty book. Based on a crappy character.
Magneto, where are you? Oh my god. I clipped them out of existence.
And the game is officially broken.
Alright, so X-Men Save the Universe. They reformed Magneto, and he'll be back. He'll be back in another game. Let's go into the next game.
Yes, let's just give him the ending from X-Men, the classic X-Men 200 of hey, Eric, can you run the Xavier School while I go off to space with my space girlfriend? Charles, is that a good idea? Sure it is. The end. Oh yeah, freaking part 2, man. This always drove me crazy. I had a friend who owned this. I never actually played it. Or my phrase it. I never owned it. Had a friend who played it and loved it, and I've seen some of the game, but that whole like very first thing you do just drops you in with a random character.
Yeah.
I've never liked that.
And the worst part is the best character to start with, if you do eventually get it, is with Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? That's only for that. You will never get Wolverine in any of these runs.
Well, because you can keep resetting until you get someone decent. Nothing against Gambit there. with someone you prefer to play as.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's one of the things of the game that always kind of I was never hugely fond of. Is just that this opening stage is the only bad part because, you know, what if I want to put in a stage select code or something? Because I don't think there was a password option or anything in this game. I think
No, there was, but there was a skip level code.
Yeah, there was a skip level code. The same thing like part 1 as well, except for part 1 doesn't immediately throw you into Savage Land without even giving you a title screen.
Like, I don't even know where I am. Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Are we in Siberia? Like, why is the hand here? Like, what the fuck?
Well, it's also one of those things where this is like a cold open, but it's not like there's... Because I played other games that have stuff like this, but usually I click Start New Game, and then, you know, I get dropped into something without explaining stuff. I mean, that's how Gunvolt opens. It's like Mega Man. It's just now you're at this base, go do stuff. I'm like, wait, who am I? Who are you? What's going on? And it just doesn't explain it in that first little intro level. And then when you complete the intro level, it actually explains stuff. And I, as a writer, hate that because I want to know what the hell's going on. The cold open for like a comic works well if it's one of those like Silver Age covers did this a lot, where it'd be like, "Wahaha! What will you do now that you have been trapped by my giant scorpion?" You know, and then you'd read the book that would eventually lead into that scene of him being trapped by the giant, the hero being trapped by the giant scorpion.
Yeah, I think DCs do that like all the time. There you go.
Yeah. It was a Silver Age trope, and I enjoy that for what that is, because that at least tells you, well, there's going to be a giant scorpion in this story. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and see, now you get the Sega thing popping up. I don't know whose idea it was to do that cold open. I do not like it.
Let's go with Olivia Munn.
I liked the character class in this. Character choices.
Yeah, I like the characters they chose in this game.
And you can see graphically, this does look like an improvement from the first game. With your traditional Sega-esque looking explosions. But yes, as a writer, I tend to be very story focused, so I'm fine with the cold open if it's, even if it's like a Star Trek episode or something like that, where, you know, your cold open is, you know, Kirk and Spock are trapped somewhere, and aliens are gonna like attack them, and then it goes to credits, and then it cuts back before that, explaining how they got in that situation. I'm kind of fine with those, but when it's something I don't know anything about, you know, Gunvolt, for example, I knew nothing about that world when I first played that game. So they're mentioning these organizations and stuff, and they don't explain crap until you get to the menu screen, where the girl you rescue in the first mission is like, hey, what's this organization, and what's this other organization, and who's this person, and who's this? I'm like, okay, yeah, you're our point of view character, which is nice, except for the fact that, like, I could have used you a level ago.
Alright. Goes on.
I find in video games, yeah. And like I said, there's exceptions to this.
Okay.
Obviously, Mega Man X. Oh, you're talking on the phone with someone. Sorry.
Yes, I have to be. I'll be. Give me like a few minutes here. Play for a few more seconds, and then I gotta go out and do something really quick.
Okay.
Hey, let's keep going. Keep going.
But like I was saying, like in Mega Man X, it's fine because we all know what Mega Man is, and you don't need to know the real plot about being a blue dude who shoots little thingies out of his hand and stuff. You know, you don't need a huge backstory. Well, one, there is a backstory in the initial before you press the start. If you wait on the start screen, it does a little thing that explains what's going on in that world, and then jumping into that little tutorial slash cold open level. And I love tutorials back in the day where it was just a level that was super easy, so you could mess around if you're gunning stuff and learn stuff. Not so much every 5 steps you get a text box that stops the game. Like many mature gamers, I'm not hugely fond of the overly getting my tutorials, and I really hate games that halfway through the game give you another tutorial. Like even Red Dead Redemption does that as well. And I'm like, it's like you get to a certain point and they're like, hey, here's a whole new, we get to Mexico and they're like, hey, here's some new gameplay mechanics, and you're like, look halfway through this game. I was done with this kind of crap. Now, that being said, Red Dead is awesome, but it is one of those things where, you know, I hate getting tutorials halfway through the game. The same issue I had with Assassin's Creed 3. You get through the first couple of chapters, and then it's just like, oh, by the way, here's more tutorials.
This is how you ride a ship. I'm like, what? Wait, or is that 4?
3 does that as well. 3 has the tutorials for the ship. It has the tutorials for searching, the searching tutorial, and the tree, Naruto tree jumping tutorial. And I'm like, I really don't like getting all these tutorials after I've played like the first few hours of this game. I feel like I should already have all these tutorials out of the way.
Hey, I'll be back, okay?
Yep.
Keep the people amused.
Anyone popping in? Like, we'll be back. Don't worry. The dog's barking. And yes, anyone who's watching in, this is just paused. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Everything's cool. We're all cool. We're all fine here. How are you?
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the delay, guys. Jared?
Cool. Yep, I'm here.
Okay. No, it's just like my head was throbbing. I had to get some food out of it. I had to help my mom with some groceries, and I had to like I had to get some Advil because my head is throbbing like like you won't believe right now.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but I'll live. That's fine. I'll live. I've been through worse in my life.
Yeah, I know, man.
So since E3 is like practically this Sunday, have you seen any like the advanced trailers that they put out for anything?
No, I actually haven't. I know that's really bad of me. I probably should have, but I have no excuse actually because my work is done, so no excuse. I just haven't looked at the advanced trailers. I was just expecting to just see everything the weekend of E3 or the weekend leading into E3, which is this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. Because like okay, so I think the biggest trailer they did is they announced a Lego Dimensions Year 2.
Oh, cool.
So they're gonna continue with the Lego Dimensions with the core set, so you don't need to buy a new set.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the new properties in there, it's gonna be like Adventure Time, Mission Impossible, the new Ghostbusters, the A-Team, E.T.
What?
I sound like I must be on drugs, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, like, look, if you told me a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, hey, by the way, there's gonna be a Lego game where you can have Back to the Future Legos, I'd be like, well, one, you're full of crap, and two, you are totally full of crap. But now all I want is to see someone go into like free play mode and make a good version of E.T. Atari.
Huh?
By the way, I would love to. If I was a programmer, I totally would be making a good version E.T. Atari, where it actually you could see where the holes are, and there'd be a little text box explaining to you what you're supposed to do. And then people would be like, "This game is still bad." I'm like, "No, it's better now because you can see where the holes are."
It's marginally better. By a whole lot.
It's one of the minor problems of this game. I like how I couldn't say minor problems of E.T. with a straight face. The game, it's just a little flawed. Just a little. I actually watched someone play that at a convention I went to once. It was kind of cool. Just because, you know, how often you get to see stuff like that.
Good point.
The fact that someone the person running the game room actually had a copy of E.T. the game. I'm like, how did that even happen? Like, you guys like, oh, I'm from New Mexico. I'm like, oh, okay.
Get the hell out of here! Mother brain's blowing up. Let's go, let's do this, come on! This game, I'll tell you this much right now, this game is marginally better than the last game.
Well, yeah. I mean,
not even marginally, this game's a way better game period because like you have a lot more mobility, a lot more stuff you can do in the game. This game's actually really good.
The other thing I noticed, something I'd completely forgot about until I was watching you play part 1 again, is that there's a lot of times where there's platforms, you just fall right through them.
Or if you're Nightcrawler, you just teleport right through them.
Yeah, and it's not one of those, oh, you're supposed to fall through it. No, it's just this weird kind of thing they have. It's just a glitch that should have been fixed.
Mm-hmm.
This one I noticed gets a little more frantic too. There's a lot more characters on screen and a lot more action happening.
This feels like an X-Men comic from the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the good comics, not one of the, like, the crappy ones. It's not like one of those comics where everyone has what was it? Has a young blood syndrome.
Oh yeah.
That's still my favorite. That's still my favorite joke.
Yeah. Because drawing eyeballs takes way too much time. I got time to draw eyeballs. I have to draw these scowly faces.
And all these pouches.
Well, look, the pouches at least serve a purpose. Because where else do you keep your keys when you're wearing a leotard?
Good point.
So I'll give it that. Or like, you know, everyone gives Cable shit for having the pouches, and I go, dude has to have his ammo and his throwing knives and his hand grenades. Where do you think he's keeping all that? Do you think he just pulls it out of his ass? Is his mutant power to create more ammo? Is he walking around?
I thought that was his mutant power for a long time, believe it or not.
make infinite ammo.
There's like, oh, the guy always had guns in his cover. I'm like, what is his power? This guy's power just killing. Does he has guns? Is that his mutant ability?
I always had the joke, not so much of Cable, but Bishop. It was like Bishop and his mutant power, gun.
Yeah. That's another character like him, Forge. Even well, Deadpool, like, you know, he could, like, you know, that's fine. Like, he came into, like, I knew later what was his ability, so it's like, that's fine. I kind of knew what was his ability. Like, even then, I thought his power was gun. Like, if you're looking through an attribute sheet, it just says their gun.
Mm-hmm.
like no more, no less, just gun. What can you do? Gun. Okay, that's good. I bet your mother's proud that you can use gun. Comics.
I love the fact that I'm living in an era where Deadpool is on an Avengers team.
So he's
now, granted,
yeah, he's on an Avengers team. It's like he's becoming the new Wolverine, where he's gonna have a membership to like every fucking like, you know, team imaginable.
Yeah, and like it kind of makes me want to read through Uncanny Avengers just because I'm like, okay, I need to know. Like, I get getting Cable on your team. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Although his, you know, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if Cable would want to join the Avengers, but yeah, asking, hey Cable, would you like to join our like team of Avengers and go and fight like anti-mutant bullshit? And you go, yes, I do. But Deadpool would want to join out of chaos. He'd just like, oh right, chaotic evil, or chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral, let's do this. But I get the feeling that no one in the right mind would say, oh Deadpool, be on our team. Like, I can't see anyone sitting there going like, oh, you know, it'd be a good idea? Let's get that insane dude who loves shooting people on our team. This'll work out really well.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in their right mind would approve of that.
But the couple issues I read that were tied into Standoff, I was like, okay, this looks like this guy should be a lot of fun, because I like all the characters on this team. I'm more curious how this all came together.
I think just Deadpool walked in, he's like, can I be an Avenger? I was like, yeah, sure. And he's just like, I'm a fucking Avenger, what the fuck?
I assume it actually worked with him, with them recruiting Cable, and Deadpool's just hanging out, and he's like, me too! And Cable's like, no, Wade. And he's like, yes, Wade! And then just follows them.
But that's right.
Deadpool's a member of your team? He followed us around.
I thought I can get rid of him, but I just can't.
He just decided he was a member of our team, and now he is.
It's like, whatever. If I try to form another Alpha Flight, he's sure as fuck he's gonna be in an Alpha Flight. Watch. What's Alpha Flight been doing as of late?
Okay, so this is complicated-ish.
You know what? Never mind.
Captain Marvel's team is now called the Ultimates. because there's no longer an Ultimate Universe, but they wanted to keep the Ultimate's name, apparently. Basically, they have the Triskelion from the Ultimate Universe, but it basically took over Alpha Flight, and now it's using Alpha Flight to be Sword, if you remember Sword.
Yeah.
Basically, their team is doing Sword's job, but they're called Alpha Flight, but the comic is called Ultimates.
Okay.
And they have Puck, and that's the only Alpha Flight member of their team I really recognized. I was like, you guys are calling it Alpha Flight, but all you really have is Puck. You know, I'm not seeing, oh god, what's his name? Vindicator. I'm not seeing Vindicator. I'm not seeing Silverwood. I'm not seeing North Star. I'm not seeing insert other Alpha Flight characters I'm not hugely familiar with. But I'm like, this is really, really weird. And the only reason I read that issue is because it was one of the Road to Civil War issues. I was like, alright, sure, whatever. At least I get a taste of this series. And I'm like, I don't know if I would choose to read this series. It's conceptually what they're doing is interesting, but it's a team of characters that, other than like Puck and Black Panther, I really don't care about any of these characters. Like, I don't care about Blue Marvel. I don't care about Captain Marvel. I don't can't remember who else is on the team. That shows you how little like the team really meant to me. It's just a bunch of characters. I'm like, yeah, those guys. Well, they're like, could you just call this Alpha Flight, or they just call their team the Ultimates and it has nothing to do with Alpha Flight? But why would the Canadian Special Forces suddenly become we're gonna go to like the outer atmosphere and protect Earth from alien invasions? Or like trying to really show that Canada is super badass. I mean, technically, Department H started the Weapon X program, so Canada doesn't screw around. They're like, dude, let's experiment on mutants and make them super assassins. So, yeah, there's that.
Look at that fucking walk up, Magneto. That's a walk of confidence.
I like the fact that he can shoot laser beams.
You know, it's like, look at I just love the walk cycle. It's got like, look at all my swagger.
Yeah.
I'm fucking Magneto. Fuck you. I got magnet powers. Don't be bringing your Iron Lung on me, bitch, because I'm gonna like pull that shit out. Yeah, it's just, but yeah. So I was mentioning earlier, it's like, well, like one of the things they're trying to do in IDW. Since pretty much IDW has been trying to like trying to unify all their properties into like one like big thing. Since now they own, since practically I think they actually now own everything that Hasbro does. They're gonna be doing a comic based on Action Man. They're gonna be doing a comic based on Mask. A comic based on Rom the Space Knight.
Nice.
They're gonna bring him back into the and they're all gonna and Micronauts.
Doesn't Marvel still own the rights to Rom Space Knight?
For a while, Marvel was, but then it's like they're like, look, we can let all the characters that you guys made up for for this series. It's yours. But any other character like characters like Mantis, she's allowed.
Okay.
So and I think it's been confirmed that she's gonna be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not reading any of this in-space stuff anymore, other than I kind of want to read the Nova series because I like Sam. But it's definitely one of those things where, yeah, I think that's what I've heard about the rights for that. It's like they no longer own the rights to Rom himself, but all the characters they created in Rom they do own, and they technically could create new Space Knights if they want to, maybe.
Yeah, if they wanted to.
And it's just one of those weird rights issues get so freaking complicated.
So what they're trying to do with all the universes, with like, you know, with G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask. What?
I'm waiting for the Mask My Little Pony crossover.
Well, that might actually happen eventually, actually, but like I said, like they're trying to unify all of the universes.
My Little Pony crossover, and all the G.I. Joes when they go to the My Little Ponyverse transform into ponies.
Were you like there for like the? Oh wait, you weren't there. But they had like there was a convention one time, and they were talking about the My Little Pony movie.
Yeah.
And they're saying that like at one point in the script, they were like the ponies were gonna go to they're just go to like they were gonna like eventually just go to like this all these different parts of they're gonna go to like different like worlds. And eventually they just end up in the like they just end up with like in the universe with G.I. Joe. And like apparently Shipwreck was just kind of like this silent role with just him just looking at like the ponies like, what the fuck are you?
Would be awesome.
Like that was from the writer's mouth himself.
Now, if you excuse me, I have to reference a completely different series. It was a big rock.
Uh-huh. Oh, this guy. Ah, fuck, stop! Throwing your little midgets at people. At me.
And the occasional rock thingies.
Yeah. I realize now why I don't like his Magneto. Even though he's awesome, he can do different things. He's kind of a he kind of takes a long time to beat enemies.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like his blasts are doing that much damage. And the way he moves is kind of awkward too. Man, some of these villains are like odd choices.
Yeah, welcome to 90s X-Men.
You go to the first game and you have Sabretooth, Juggernaut, Magneto.
But then that game too had like Darkbird, and whatchamacallit, what else was also there? I was like, what? I think Strife was also in the game?
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be the Danger Room, so I guess it kind of made sense. But this one, I'm like, you get this guy. Like, none of these bosses are like super iconic-ish villains from. I mean, like, at least if you had like Sugar Man show up, I'd be like, oh my god, Sugar Man! You're all, dude, that's the next level. Like, oh, my bad. Sorry for crapping all over this. I always felt Sugar Man was so super disturbing, and I kind of liked him because of it. So I'm kind of.
I don't think I read any comics with him. I know he was an associate of Mr. Sinister.
He was around in Age of Apocalypse mostly. At least that I know him from Age of Apocalypse. And I always just found him so friggin' disturbing. I mean, he has all the arms and stuff, the giant mouth, but just like he not only liked torturing people, he friggin' was just like a sadist and got off on it. And friggin' just cannibalized people when he got bored. You know, and I'm just like, I don't know, this character is just disturbing and weird enough to like kind of like him as a villain because he's so evil and just delights in being evil. You know, there's no part of him that's like, evil is bad, evil is wrong, and I know I'm doing wrong, but I don't care. It is wholly in the category of like, oh my gosh, torturing and murdering people is so much fun. I wish I could do this all day. And I'm like, man, you are messed up, and that kind of makes you a more interesting villain than a lot of the other villains.
Oh, the pain meds are starting to take effect. Thank you,
the last couple of boss fights in here, yeah, I know, if you're Wolverine, this would already be over. But the last couple of boss fights have not been the most exciting. It's just this would have been a lot faster. Again, like I said, if you're using Wolverine or even Psylocke or the other character. Which can go back to Wolvie.
Yeah, because I like that lunge he has. I love that lunge he has.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, just the villains in this one don't feel super iconic, but then again, there weren't a lot of new villains in an Age of Apocalypse game would be really awesome. No, Age of Apocalypse is in this game too. Even though his boss fight really sucks because it's just him absorbing energy and then standing there laughing.
Well, that was the last game.
Yeah, this one, I'm not sure what the full boss list is in this game, but I know it's not nearly as strong.
No, it's just the boss list in this game was kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It really is indicative of its time. Like, it really is just like a bunch of villains you picked. Like okay, who are some of the new bad guys we can use in this comic book? Okay, that looks good. That looks good. Okay, we'll use one of this.
It's one of those ones where I really enjoyed X-Men Legends 2 doing the whole Age of Apocalypse thing, and I actually would have liked a game like this, but set up with like an Age of Apocalypse kind of thing where everything is, you know, ruins or technological kind of stuff, and, you know, you have, I mean, because this team here is very Age of Apocalypse in terms of the character selection, and some of the bosses are guys who would be from that story arc, but the world is not obviously Age of Apocalypse and stuff like that. and I don't know. It'd just be kind of cool if like they did a part 3 and they did it, you know, very Age of Apocalypse. Yeah,
I'm very sure that would have been that would have been the case because like Age of Apocalypse they love in the 90s they loved Age of Apocalypse like that was like
it went on for like 2-3 years, whatever it was. It was going on for a while.
really I thought it was like a 1 year thing, but 2-3 years, jeez.
I thought it was longer than one. Maybe it's just because all the lead-in stuff and the aftermath stuff. But I know, yes, it was at least 1 year long, and more if you count some of the lead-in and post events. But yeah, it took over the X-Men universe in a really cool way. Unless you weren't into like 90s over-the-topness, then you probably wouldn't like it as much.
Well, actually, that's one of the weird things. Like, it's one of those cases where it's like I look back at Age of Apocalypse, and that's one of the few times where I'll accept like the 90s over the topness.
Yeah, it works for that universe.
Yeah. Speaking of Apocalypse.
Yeah. Oh man, it's time for a battlefield that'll make Jared nauseous.
I'll tell you when it's done.
Yeah. The guy with motion sickness should not be watching the spinning disc thingy.
Yeah, the idea is I'm supposed to like see how those bombs are right there. I'm supposed to they're supposed to set off like right behind the thing so Apocalypse can come out.
Oh, so it blows up the thing, he comes out, then you fight him.
Yeah. So it's like so it might take a little because it's like, oh, I gotta dodge these things before I can actually get to them.
Oh, I'm sure this boss fight will be better than the previous games.
There's a lot more going on, I'll tell you that much. Other than just like hacking and slashing and waiting until like something happens.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you when to look.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look at this. This isn't as bad as some of the motion sickness stuff I was getting during Fox Hunt because jerky camera work plus fast motion stuff that was not.
And then guy with a plastic face just contorting his face all over the place.
Yeah. Hey, I liked not Paul Rudd. He was an awesome actor.
Paul Rudd. The worst part is he looks like a young fucking Paul Rudd. That's the worst part.
Yeah, he does. If we bring back Fox Hunt, we will. I'll go and look up all the actors who are in it. We'll have a whole conversation about the actors.
Yeah.
To help us keep our sanity while playing the game. And the game is so WTF that I really feel it should be on more people's like weird games lists. As it's not necessarily a bad game, I'd say. I mean, for what it's trying to be. But it's definitely a flawed mess of a game that made me motion sick.
Yeah.
Just not one of those things I put as a key point of a good game.
Like that's not gonna get you the 5.0 like crazy guy face on GamePro.
And it's one of those weird things as I think about it, because I realized I wasn't even the one playing it. So if I was the one playing it, that probably would have been way more problematic.
I was getting more frustrated than anything. I was like, I didn't know I could go up floors. Like, what? Fuck you, game.
Oh yeah, I remember that 'cause I was listening to the cutscenes, and you get the ones that you knew there was a different floor, and like, no.
Because like, if we can explain this to those who don't know, basically what happened in the game is like, for example, you'd go like you're basically stuck in like going around with like these rocket sleds. And then they strap the rocket sleds onto a what's it called? They strap some rocket sleds onto a wheelchair, and this guy's going around the hospital. And here's the thing: you're being chased down by some goons, and while you're being chased down by some goons, you have to like not make sure that those goons don't get to you, and B, make sure you're going on the right floor because there's 2 possible exits out of that floor. So, yeah. You can imagine my frustration and anger whenever I got to like whatever it says they're going up one floor, like how?
And also, every hallway looks the same, so it's a lucky guess if you're going the right direction. And so yeah, so eventually we just got. I was getting motion. We got further than that before we quit, but I don't think you would have gotten even remotely that far if I hadn't been with you on that one. And I don't blame you. I don't blame anyone who quit at that rocket chair sequence. Because I feel like if you made it that far, bravo. Because the game's really weird with the point-and-click sections. Because half the time it wouldn't, like, get whatever we were supposed to be getting for some reason. So remember that, you get to certain screens and you hit the button and hit the button and hit the button and just nothing would happen. Really poorly constructed in that regard.
Come on, Apocalypse.
And like brain scratching in terms of the story and the characters and people's behaviors.
All right, I'm done.
That is almost worth checking out just for that regard, that reason.
By the way, if you're wondering, basically, Apocalypse fucked off. Like I beat him and he just fucked off. Like, okay, cool.
Oh, it was that fast?
Yeah, there's no explosion, no nothing.
And I turn to the screen and I just see like the screen's going dark and it's going back to the character select, and I'm like, wait, what? I already missed it?
Yeah, well, because the screen was continuing onto that weird platform, so it's like I didn't want to subject you to it. But still, it's like just Apocalypse just fucked off. Like, hey,
the boss fight went really, really fast, apparently.
Yeah. I forgot Wolverine can do this in this game. Oh my god. Okay, there you go. I'm an idiot. Oh, so Savage Land. Yeah. So no, like I said, like some of the E3 things are looking interesting. Show the Watch Dogs 2, that got announced. Like I said, like the biggest one that for me was Lego Dimensions Year 2. Good news is you don't need to buy a new game to get to play any of those new things.
I think that's great. That's always a good idea. Make it as accessible as possible, and that's how you can keep an audience.
And like as of late, they've been selling the game for like $30. The base set game.
Yeah.
So that's really good for those who took advantage. Like your $30 are now well worth it.
Yeah, that's true.
And now you can actually have like a 1:1 scale you can have a 1:1 scale Tom Cruise action figure.
Yeah. Joke is that Tom Cruise is short.
But yeah, like they rumored a few things, but like I don't know like if it's like valid or not. I'm gonna wait until there is things. My God, there's gonna be shit happening on Sunday till like 9:30 at night. So we're gonna be what?
I have a meeting, a business meeting kind of thing, midday Sunday, so I might be missing some of Sunday stuff.
Well, watch the big thing happens on Sunday night. Sunday night, whatchamacallit? Apparently that's the Bethesda press conference. Apparently it's been confirmed that Blink 182 is gonna be there. Like, what is this? 1998?
Yeah, really.
Like
everyone's favorite band they kind of vaguely remember.
I was like, wait a minute, they still playing? What?
It's almost like the response should be, good for you. like golf clap.
Yeah, it's like, congratulations.
The band I never really liked is still together and playing, apparently.
I thought they broke up. What the fuck? But apparently they're playing the Bethesda press conference for some fucking reason. I don't know why.
Feels like part of the conversation for them is like, yeah, I thought you broke up. We did. And now you're together again? Yep. Joy.
Alright. Fair enough. It's like when you hear, it's like, you know, it's like when you hear that Smash Mouth is still going towards, like, what?
The band I'd completely forgotten about.
They're still touring.
Good for them.
Literally, I'm like, what? Okay. They must be really banking on that like, you know, they must be really banking on that like Shrek money, man.
Yeah.
Apparently, too, it's like to make things even more like 90s tastic. Apparently, they're on tour with the Offspring. I'm like, nothing screams like late 90s than that. I swear to God.
I'm kind of annoyed at the fact that people are embarrassed about several aspects of the 90s, but no one is ever embarrassed about the like music of the late 90s. Which I feel that people should be way more embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
Because I look back at it and like, look, there's a reason I got into classic rock. It was called the 90s really sucked in terms of music. And it was just like there was a couple of bands. I like Rage Against the Machine and stuff like that, but for the most part, you had a lot of bands that were not that great. A lot of that crappy, like, people trying to be Linkin Park kind of thing going for a while.
Well, it was Linkin Park before Linkin Park became popular.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. Like, Linkin Park actually, they inspired Linkin Park. If that makes any fucking sense. Yeah, wrap your head around what I just said.
Yeah, ow. I'm
Okay.
not cool with this. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit, man. But I just remember so many bands trying to do that whole, like, we got a singer, and then we got, like, a really shitty rapper.
Yeah, that was all 90s.
Like, I will say this, there was some good hip-hop in the 90s, and I'm not the biggest hip-hop fan, but, like, what there was, I thought was good. You know? I liked Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. I'm not the standard white kid who loves hip-hop guy, but, like, you know...
I love hip-hop guy. He's my favorite.
If Dre record from the 90s, I'm not going to bitch about it.
Dude,
if anything, I'll be very much like, sweet, Dr. Dre from the 90s.
Dude, by the way, I love hip-hop guy. He's my favorite. You know what? I'm gonna make that now. If if ever comes a day that I'm gonna have to like become like a rapper or something like that, that's gonna be my new like, you know, that is gonna be my like you know, my stage name. Hip hop guy. Just, what do you do? I'm the hip hop guy.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, who's gonna argue?
Like, I don't know how to. that's all I am. I'm the hip hop guy.
It's better than a lot of the names of rappers nowadays. So.
Oh, fucking. Okay. Still alive. I'm Wolverine. Actually, this game, like putting the cheat codes in, it's like a Wolverine simulator because it's like I am invincible, just like Wolverine is in the comic books.
Yep, until they killed him off, or until they bring him back. Although that is one of the series I have been reading and actually really do enjoy is the X-23 Wolverine series. I really am enjoying it. It's really good.
And like I said to you before, it's like X-23 if X-23 has Wolverine, sign my ass up. Like, come on.
It's really weird. There's one issue where they have a brief sequence of like doing that whole, and we talked about this last week as well. The
couple of people are gonna
like some guys on the internet don't like that I'm Wolverine or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know anyone in that category. Stop trying to like. It really bothers me when they're trying to do the.
Trying to create controversy from nothing.
Yes, exactly. Like, it really gets to me, because I'm like, there's no reason for you to try to start this kind of crap. Most people were perfectly fine with it, because every X-Men fan loves X-23, and I feel that once anyone gives her a chance, they'll really like the character, because she's really interesting, and, you know, whether you're going to do the more brutal, younger version of, younger in quotations, earlier version of her where she's really brutal, or the, you know, more recent versions where she's learned to kind of control herself better, you know, either way, you have a really good character that people can get into and relate to an extent. I mean, okay, granted, most people aren't a clone of a superhero who, you know, has anger management issues, but, you know, there's definitely a lot to like about the character. And yeah, when they're trying to stir up crap for the sake of stirring up crap, it kind of bothers me. It's like, there's no reason for you to do this. There's no reason to be jumping up and down and being like, look at the... They made that part of the Sam Wilson Captain America series, and I'm kind of fine with that, except for, like, the fact that no one gave a crap when Bucky became Captain America. So, I don't know.
No, so the thing is, well, at the time, it was like, was that before or after Disney when they decided to make Bucky Captain America?
That was right after Civil War. That was 2007.
Yeah, so if it was
he's like, I'm taking up the shield. If you don't like it, you can shove it up your ass. And I'm like, man, I was kind of lukewarm to the idea of the Winter Soldier, but now I'm kind of liking you.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, if it was done now, they would have been news reports all over the place saying about it. Cause that's why Sam Wilson got like all the attention, because it's like, oh, by the way, like let's review all this on like all the daily news shows and stuff like that, so they can have something to talk about. It's like, oh, fine, whatever.
Yeah, and they were doing it because the whole like, a black Captain America. I'm like, it's the Falcon. Falcon's been around forever. Well, not really. I mean, it was introduced like in the 60s or 70s or something.
70s.
But, yeah, 70s. But he was a character who, like, anyone who reads comics is not going to have a problem with him taking up the shield. It'd be more weird if like, Steve was like, Iron Man, take my shield, be the new Captain America. Then we'd all be like, what the hell? Was he on drugs at the time when he offered the shield to Tony? Was Tony drunk when he accepted the shield? Sure thing, bro. Certainly take your shield. It'll be cool. Like, no, this is a guy who's been his sidekick slash partner, really more partner than sidekick, I'd say.
Yeah.
For decades now. It makes perfect sense. It's just like when Bruce Wayne died and Dick Grayson took up the mantle of Batman. I don't think anyone who was a fan of Batman had a problem with that.
I was actually for it. As a matter of fact, it's like I love Batman and Robin, the comic book, where it was him and Damian Wayne. I love that comic book. That's like one of my favorite comic books.
Damian Wayne was a character I didn't want to like him, but I really did like the character.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like he has everything he has everything that I hate about a character like that. But they executed it so well. I'm glad I'm glad that they found that. I'm glad he's gonna be back in the Rebirth universe, doing things. He's gonna be like leader of the Teen Titans and be part of his own book as well with Superman's kid. I actually want to get that. I really want to get that book as well, because it's like I love fucking Damian Wayne as a character. So it's like, you know, like, sign my ass up.
Yeah, like I said, it's a character I initially didn't want to like, and then I'm like, he's a really good character. This is done really well.
So it's like, you know, props to DC for actually making me care about a character I would otherwise not really care much about at first. Like,
yep.
Like, come on, like, you know, Batman has a son? He's by Talia al Ghul. What the fuck? I would have been like,
Well, I was fine with that, although it felt like a really weird like retcon, yeah, because it just got out of left field retcon. Oh, by the way, in all these years, here's your son. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Reasons. So yeah, there's that issue.
But other than that, I thought it was a fantastic. I think it's a fantastic book. He's a fantastic character, and I'm glad that they're gonna be doing stuff with him like soon.
Yeah, I agree.
And you know he's gonna play like a major role in this universe and stuff like that. And what am I supposed to? Can I climb? 'Cause apparently I'm supposed to use this. Oh, okay, there you go. I'm stupid. I can solve problems. I can defeat the.
Wilson is I do like the fact that in universe there's people who are not cool with the idea, and you know I'm kind of fine with that. It feels a little. The reason I don't read the book is it feels it's a little too like agenda driven. And at least in like the Avengers stories that I've read with Sam Cap, he's very much like, I don't like the fact that there's like agendas being pushed around me, that I'm supposed to represent, you know, all this stuff that I never set out to represent. I just wanted to keep I want to keep Steve's legend alive, and I want to stand for, you know, justice and stuff like that. And I like how that's set up where whoever's writing that version of the Falcon is doing the whole, like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with being an icon or supposed to be some sort of symbol of anything, versus, you know, say, in his book, that stuff's also brought up, and nothing against the couple of issues I've read of it. I thought they were fine. It's just one of those things where, like, I like the idea of Sam not being comfortable with that and not trying to be some sort of like, I'm trying to be an icon, I just want to be a hero. And look, you can be an icon without having to like play up to the media or anything. You can just do your thing, which is what, you know, in the Avengers comics that I've read with him, that he's just doing his thing and feels really weird about any kind of attention he's getting. And I like that versus, you know, maybe I'm over exaggerating the main book a little bit too much or something. But it just feels like they're trying to make the agenda a key part of that story, and I don't like that.
That's unfortunate, because I've noticed that's what Marvel likes to do now, and it's like, no, don't do it. That's what kind of turned me off from Marvel in general. It's just like,
yeah,
everything has to be an agenda with them, because they want to be progressive. It's like, you want to be progressive? Look at Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
She's a Muslim superhero, but we don't make no reference to the fact that she's Muslim. Matter of fact, yeah. If anything, it's more the fact that she's kind of an inhuman that's kind of a bigger issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you know, I would rather see exploits of a character like that's naturally, like, you know, that their skin color or whatever their ethnicity is kind of like secondary to like the primary thing, which is like, I'm a goddamn superhero.
Yeah, and look, you want the person to be an icon and represent this or that. That's perfectly fine. They do that by being a really competent superhero, not by doing speeches about how we need equality or whatever.
Yeah, that's why it's like, you know, Kamala Khan, she's not like, you know, she's not like saying like, it's like she's a teenager and she's like doing teenage things while still trying to learn how to harness her abilities as a human. And that's what I like about that. That's what I love about that book.
She reminds me of when people write a young Spider-Man really well. When you do a Spider-Man arc, but you're doing like high school-ish Spider-Man, that's what at least the issues I've read of various Ms. Marvel stories really feel like to me, where they're really catching in on the whole like teen drama stuff, and like, yeah, I got a couple of friends, and there's these jerks at school, and this and that, and showing the trying to deal with the crap you have to deal with as a teenager, but then adding in, oh, by the way, you also need to go save the world right now.
And you don't know, and we don't even know what your powers are. You don't even know what you're capable of power-wise.
Yeah.
Which is
learning to do the embiggening stuff. Interesting journey there.
Yeah, so it's like that's kind of the crazy part. It's like, by the way, the only thing we know about you is that the Terrigen Mist didn't turn you into like a guild person, so that's good news.
Yeah, you did not turn into a fish man. Congratulations.
You actually were one of the people that actually you're actually one of the successful people that actually got some cool abilities out of it. So we don't know what's going on. So good luck. And that's another thing. That's another thing I like. It's like they treat the Inhumans like her being an Inhuman kind of like naturally. Not like how they've been horseshoeing and like all this Inhuman crap all over the place.
Yeah. Oh. Guess who's the person who started some of the crap for Civil War II?
An Inhuman?
It's an Inhuman. Yeah.
Oh, why am I not surprised?
Yeah. We gotta shoehorn these fuckers into every single book.
Thanks, Ike Plowmunner.
You will like the Inhumans, or we will kill you.
Thank you, Ike Plowmunner, for giving us characters we don't fucking like. By the way, since they're not doing the Inhumans movie, guess what's fucked? Everything they're doing, they are completely and utterly fucked.
Yes.
And apparently now, like since what's it called? Since Warner, since 20th Century Fox is a lot more receptive of them doing like team ups with their own with Marvel Studios.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, guess what? You double down on fucking around with like mutants, and now they're trying to mend bridges with you. It's like So it's like, fuck.
It's so poorly handled, and it was a really dumb choice. But here's the funny thing about it. While the original Inhumans I'm not a huge fan of, I like some of the new characters they introduced. I like, Ms. Marvel. I like, shit from Fearless Defenders, Ren. I think her name was Ren. She was a pretty cool little character, even though she has ceased to be of any kind of existence now because I guess everyone hates Colin Bunn except for me. But she was an interesting character. She had these cool little like hand wrap things that would come off her fingers, and it's kind of cool. And I really, I've liked some of these new characters they've been introducing. Some of them were stupid as all else, like Thane was a friggin' waste. But, for the most part, there's some interesting characters and concepts they've come up with. And I like the fact that in that issue of, I think Civil War Zero, the Terrigen Mists are coming towards whatever the school, University of Ohio or something like that. And the character's like, oh my god, the Terrigen Mists are coming! Like, I'm like, oh, is it just like that common knowledge now in this world? When that friggin' like weird colored cloud shows up, everyone is like, oh, it's the Terrigen Mists! Some of us might transform into superheroes.
Like, what was the worst idea ever? I can't breathe. I can't feel above ground.
Yeah, everyone should be super excited about turning into an Inhuman until they realize that like half the Inhumans have really weirdly screwed up powers.
And even worse, it's like it's a 50-50 shot. You're gonna die if you do it. Oh my god. Like we don't even like I find it funny. It's like we both don't like the Inhumans yet we know all this knowledge because they shoved it down our gullets all this time. That's the sad part. It's like
yes, because otherwise I just have to turn to a friend who reads Fantastic Four. Explain Inhumans to me, friend who likes Fantastic Four. But instead, yes, they've shoved a lot of this down our throats, so we do know a bit more than we would like to know.
Yeah, that's the sad part. It's like I only knew about recently thanks to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about stuff like the Terrigen Mist and stuff like that.
That was because of Infinity, the really shitty Infinity storyline, where they blew up Atalan, or however the hell it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And the Terrigen Mists like just went over the Earth, and I'm like, so Black Bolt just committed a major, genocidal level atrocity because you're about to force a bunch of people who did not choose this to transform into people when they breathe in a gas that, yes, as you pointed out, does have a chance of killing them as well. It's like good. It's like bad news. You're gonna get trapped into a cocoon, and worse news, in the cocoon, you could just your transformation can be so extreme that you just die from it.
Yeah, your body was not prepared for that. You're not Reggie Fils-Aimé. Your body was not ready.
And there's other aspects, because like, okay, the idea of getting like superpowers sounds all well and good, except for like half the Inhumans look like weird like purple-skinned, four-armed guys, and I'm like, I'm all cool with breathing in the mist and even getting superpowers. I am not cool with like losing my good looks.
That's what I always made the joke of, like, guess what? Now, like, even if you do survive, you're gonna be a gill man. You're gonna be a creature of the Black Lagoon for the rest of your life. If you...
Triton can still like breathe air at least, but yeah, suddenly he's this weird fish man guy that, as far as I can tell, or what if you get super unlucky and you get like Black Bolt's powers? You know, and it's like, well, congratulations. If you talk, you kill people. Oh, right.
And you just blew up. And you just blew up a city block.
Destroy an entire city.
Like, you can't talk now. Okay. I'm sorry, but you're terrible.
Discover how his powers work, because that feels like something that can be really, really problematic.
You can't have a lot of sticky notes. Just like they give him a bit, like give him like a big, like, like they just handle a big old thing of like just like notes. It's like here, just right here, everything you want. So like
those small chalkboards.
Yeah.
It's a damage transmitter. I mean, like, I know Medusa actually speaks for him, and somehow she knows, I guess, what her husband wants, which is kind of, probably not true.
Like, no, I did not want to. I don't know what she's talking. I didn't want cheese. I didn't want cheese on this pizza. I didn't want any like pineapple.
Why did you execute that person? They're a criminal. It's our laws. I don't like that law. Too bad. As the king, you have to approve of our traditional laws. No. To which, if I was a king, I'd say, no, I don't. I'm the king. I can change the laws. Screw you. I'm against executions or whatever. But yes, a lot of shoving the Inhumans down our throats, and no one's getting into it. I know, like I said, unlike you got like Ms. Marvel, and you have one or two other smaller characters that have been introduced that people are liking. But I bet if I looked at the numbers for the sales of the Inhumans issues, I can't imagine they're particularly high numbers.
No, they're not. I looked at the numbers. They're as what you expect for a book like that.
Yeah, and I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it sounds like it's making that whole series get all foobar.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah.
One of the things that when she want to start doing, when they want to start doing, is just have like a sit rep of like of all those shows I watch, like Arrow, Flash. Oh boy, when I eventually get to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., boy, the things I'm gonna say about that show.
Yeah, that'll force me to have to watch that piece of shit. And I know everyone does, well, season 1 gets better. But yes, it would be fine, except for everyone tells me season 2 gets worse.
And then season 3 it's kind of a lost cause. If you're, like, at this point, you're better off not even watching it. You're in a better place right now. That's actually the best compliment I can give it right now.
My only thing with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is I kind of want to see the episodes that do tie into aspects of the movies.
They don't really.
Or is it one of those, like, I would get nothing out of it other than, oh, that's what they were doing while Cap was off having an interesting adventure?
Yeah, pretty much.
What the fuck are you fighting?
I think it's the Phalanx?
Okay.
Or I think it's like the Brood Queen?
I don't remember any broods that look like that.
I was gonna say, it's like, maybe it's the Brood Queen? I don't know. It's like, yeah, you're right. What the fuck is this thing? I don't remember this. I don't remember any of this from my guide to
Weird insectoid kind of design, but I don't remember one looking like this one looks.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, maybe they changed the brood design in the 90s and I just didn't know. But I thought the Phalanx had a whole different design to them than that. They had a more mechanical-ish design.
Well, that's what I was finding. That's what like the green. That's what the yellow guys are. They're the Phalanx.
Oh yeah, they are, aren't they? But this wouldn't be one of the. This is not their thing. This is too organic.
Yeah.
Or did they just decide all the aliens will just be in one level? You're gonna fight the Phalanx, and you're gonna fight the Brood, and you know what? We'll throw a few Shi'ar guards in here too. Why the hell not? Not that I see any Shi'ar. I don't remember seeing any Shi'ar in this level.
Oh, this is like this is the end of the game right here.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I remember now. Because like you have to fight all the X-Men's clones from the Phalanx that the Phalanx made.
Okay, so it's some sort of super Phalanx that became a weird, brood-looking monster.
I guess.
Because it transformed into a dude, and I'm like, okay, well then it's not an actual. Because yeah, those little guys crawling on the ground are kind of brutish. Not exactly what the brood looked like, as I recall, but you know, they're reminiscent of they're reminiscent enough of the brood for me to be like, okay. I mean, considering the brood were just a ripoff of the xenomorphs, you know, you only can do so much of that legally. And then we go and play Contra. We're like, no ripping off of Alien in this video game. None at all.
There goes
Or
one.
Alien.
Okay, there's Psylocke. Gotta find the rest of the team.
Clone Wars. At my Clone Wars, we mean fight clones at the very end of the game.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a little bit of Mandalorians right about now.
Yeah. There have been a few robots, though, so I guess you got that. Not as many Jedi, I'd like.
Yeah. Like I said, just hand me the Mandalorians. That's all I want. Let's see what I'm finding here.
I would also point out that, like, the clone thing's kind of doesn't feel like a plan that the Phalanx would actually use. And as I look at them, like, this actually would have worked really well if they decided to use the scroll instead, because the scroll can at least transform into people.
I want to say maybe that was the original plan for the game when they were constructing it, but I guess they're like, let's roll with the Brood instead, because that's...
Yeah, but like I said, they become those weird balls and stuff that I'm like, well, little orb thingies aren't... I mean, if they had considered using a, you know, the scroll or something initially, that clearly wasn't programmed into the design of anything in this game. But this cave is like, let's just throw in a bunch of various alien-type things that the X-Men fight. In fact, a lot of these levels have felt very, like, random shot of, like, X-Men stuff. And in the first game, I can forgive it, because you're stuck in the danger room, and the danger room's going out of control. So you can have weird combinations of stuff. You can fight Sabretooth on Mirror Island. I'm fine with that. Because, technically, you can put that into the programming of the danger room. This is supposed to be an actual story, sort of. I mean, not that there's any, like, cutscenes explaining crap.
There is, but it's all like in text, and it's like, well, we ain't got time for text.
Got time for text.
Literally, it's like, fuck. It's like, you might as well just give me, like, your whole existential story. And the worst part is, like, it's X-Men dialogue.
90s X-Men dialogue.
Yeah, it's like, like, really, do we really need to know, like, the fragile nature of, like, do we really need to know the fragile nature of man and mutant at this point when we're trying to, like, fight out the Brood, Phalanx, whatever the fuck these guys are? Come on.
X-Men Clone Wars, like, predicted the Covenant. A bunch of aliens kind of, like, unite together to be, like, bigger dicks. To which some Halo fans are like, that is not what the Covenant... I'm like, that's exactly what the Covenant is. It's a bunch of alien races got together to just be major dicks. That is the easiest way to synopsize the Covenant. Like how all you do is bouncy lunge.
I think that's the end of the game right here.
All right.
Jesus Christ, how anticlimactic!
Text.
But the controlling factory don't watch and the trying to quickly end their assaults. In violent rage or possibly in a well-timed or preempted. Oh my God! Look at those! Look at this wall of fucking text. It's like again, it's like I'm reading like '90s X-Men or the existential bullcrap about like man and mutant.
Man, the text just gets no, don't worry. The next page will just be complete text.
There's silence. There's no someone else.
Oh
no...
my gosh, it really like I'm reading this now and I'm like, let's talk about like this is like that ending to like Mega Man X, where it's like, is the Mega Buster the only way to solve the problems? Was there not another option? And I'm just like, the hell. Your trip back to Earth is silent.
Oh my God!
No smile. No, God, this just got all angsty now.
They also know that one's terrible. It's so annoying. Find words. Like, show me this shit! Don't fucking like put a picture of Xavier with his fucking cerebral helmet on.
Do you know how much better this would be if this was done in like comic panel format?
Yeah, it's like Jesus Christ. Like I give the Super Nintendo game props because at least in that game they show you while they're showing you the existential bull crap.
Yeah.
Here's just a picture of Xavier with his fucking like his fucking helmet, this fucking cerebral helmet on.
Like narrating to you what everyone's thinking.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck, man.
But don't worry, it's gonna. Look, there's a lot of people who complain about the ending of games. At least this one is giving you a full story for its ending.
Yeah, but it's like.
But yes, he walks towards Magneto and sits alone, staring out a window, and I'm like, you could show me a nice little comic panel of that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. It's like I forgot how existential it is. I forgot also the ending to the first game is actually just as bad. It's just like a never ending. It's like about 2 minutes of a scroll of an ending of text.
Scrolling text. I've never seen the ending to the original game, so.
It's this.
Our game.
It's this. It's this, but like for going on for like way longer.
Yeah, they're having a whole discussion of like, would you have saved us, or should we have saved you, and all this kind of other crap.
And it's a good game. I like it. I give them props. This is actually really good. This is actually a really good game. But just like. It's indicative of the '90s. It's indicative of '90s X-Men. If that makes any sense. Yes. We're just like, well, can we wrap this up? Like, yeah, I respect the fact that you're trying to like tell me a story here and all that stuff.
But they don't do it in an interesting way. Look, I would love a really good, interesting X-Men story that ends with this whole like moral conflict of like, was what we did right? Was it? We basically declared war against the Phalanx. Should we have done that? Was it a good idea that we teamed up with Magneto? If were you actually planning to betray us originally? And all these interesting, metaphysical questions and moral questions and what have you. Does this game just reset?
Yeah.
Or is it still credits?
That's the end. We just saw the credits.
So that whole thing, would be really great if I was looking at, comic panels and then little speech bubbles came up with the characters talking to each other. Instead of, it's Xavier's head, and it's just like, so the X-Men get into their spaceship. No one is smiling. They are all angsty. There is no winners after this war. I'm like, fairly certain there is. The X-Men, they came, they saw, they kicked their ass. And, I'm just like, this all would have been so much better if this was just comic panels of the characters talking to each other. Because then I'd get into it. Then I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah. Yeah, I'm with this.
Yeah, but yeah.
And yes, that's true. I wasn't paying attention to the between level stuff, which I'm sure gives a whole, 5-6 paragraphs of dialogue and some static image that isn't going to make me be all like, oh, wow, this is super exciting. It makes me go, yeah, let's click through this and just get to the actual next stage.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is amazing. That's You know what? I would put that as the biggest flaw of this game. I watched a friend play this once, maybe twice, and then I've seen some people play it online. Now I've seen you play through it, and I had no memory of the text screens because I think everyone clicks through them. I don't think anyone sits there going like, "Oh yeah, let's read this really boring story with static images."
We should just for shits and giggles. Well, just one of these days, just like beat this game again and just
Mm-hmm.
read through it and maybe like just like see what the hell they're talking about. See all the bullshit it makes no sense.
Yeah, but I think this means that eventually we have to go into the Super Nintendo one and compare contrast.
I wouldn't mind doing it next time.
Yeah, if we want to stick that. Also, a game that kind of I was thinking about when I was talking comics with my brother earlier today was the Hulk game that came out on Genesis and Super Nintendo.
That's okay game. I can throw that one in as well.
Yeah, it's an okay game. It just popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I remember that game. I remember how everyone bitched and moaned, or not everyone, online post that game coming out. People bitched and moaned about that game because of the last boss, and I'm like, I like the leader last boss fight. I thought that was brilliant. Yeah, punch the leader, knock the leader out. Done. The freaking leader. He's not Abomination. He is not, Red Hulk. He is not.
Well,
I mean,
The concept over Red Hulk wouldn't even like
wasn't
fruition.
invented yet. That's
That's
true.
like that was like another 15 years.
Yeah, Red Hulk was 2000s.
So it's like at most
2010.
would be Abomination.
Yeah. So I mean, there wasn't a Abomination. I mean, Abomination was a boss in that game, but it wasn't like the final boss. This was a trap set up by the leader. So at the end, you're gonna face the leader, and you beat him with one punch. And I like that. That makes sense to me.
I think it was made by Eidos. I think it was actually made by the Tomb Raider team. I think
Really?
it was like one of their early games.
Huh.
Before I think after that they made Pandemonium for the PS1. They made a bunch of like PC games. I think they made Chuck Rock and these other like PC games and like other Genesis games. And then after that for the PS1 they made Pandemonium. And then after that they made Tomb Raider and they just pretty much coasted on Tomb Raider ever since.
That's unfortunate. It
But just,
reminded me of another game I never had the chance to play, but I was always curious about. Is I know there's an Exo Man of War game.
yeah, it's Iron Man Exo Man of War.
Oh,
So it's
it's
him and
cross.
Iron Man.
Okay. Well, they're both power suit guys, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
It's not that good. Yeah.
No, really.
Like you remember Batman and Robert? You know Batman Forever for the Super Nintendo?
The one that's like set up with the weird controls one that
It's,
does also like the.
it's like Mortal Kombat, but it isn't.
Yeah,
It's like that.
it's like yeah, the Batman Forever game with the weird. We're trying to do Mortal Kombat mythologies for some reason controls.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind. Then I'm not in on that. I was just always curious. I wasn't a huge Exo Man of War person. I never have been. But there's other Valiant titles I actually did like. But it's one of those things where
like I think the
I'm like,
only
well,
good.
that could be a fun game if they set the game up right.
Hmm.
And apparently, it sounds like they didn't set the game up right.
I was
So
gonna say the only good kind of game with like that Valiant that came out of Valiant was Turok.
yes, I love the Turok games.
So if that's any consolation. Anyways,
Oh,
dude.
the comics I never really read. Turok. I knew one person who was into the Turok comics, maybe two people, and that's how I got into the Turok games because they liked the comics and they liked the games. I'm sure there's a new Turok series now because new Valiant, and I
I'm
probably would
actually
get
not.
into it.
Actually, there isn't.
Why aren't they doing a new Turok? Why wouldn't you do a new Turok?
I don't know. Let me see right here.
I wanted to get into
Oh yeah,
new
no,
Valiant.
they are doing a new comic book, but it's not made by New Valiant. It's actually made by Dynamite.
Oh, Dynamite has Turok?
Yeah, apparently,
Cool
like
me. I love Dynamite.
because it wasn't a Valiant comic to start with. It was actually like a Gold Key comic.
Oh, okay.
So I think like when the rights expired with Valiant, I think everything just reverted back to whoever owned like all the key comic things. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, whoever owns key comics now, it's all part of that package. And yeah, Dynamite Comics owns Key Comics now. All their IPs.
It's like how Mirage Comics has been owned by a couple different people at this point.
Yeah, so it's like,
Or rather, the Ninja Turtles license created by Mirage Comics has been owned by multiple people at this point.
yeah,
And now it's with IDW, and
yeah,
I think
IDW.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah,
But I haven't read the new one.
they have a spin-off comic with Rocksteady and Bebop that they say it's really good.
Okay.
It's just them fucking around with time basically, while the Ninja Turtles try to stop them. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'm down with this. I am fucking down with this. If it's
Yeah.
just those two assholes fucking around with time, while the Ninja Turtles are like on hot pursuit, sign
I
my
will
ass
look
up.
into that because I will make that a review thing because I'm assuming regardless of what this new continuity is like, Bebop and Rocksteady are still Bebop and Rocksteady.
Well, no, I think they changed it to just be like just two just assholes. So hey, that's perfect. It's basically like how like
What they began as. They were just like two thugs that Shredder was like, you guys are getting mutated into animals now because
yeah.
okay, boss, I guess we'll do this.
Yeah,
We don't
but
have a choice. We're strapped down to tables.
yeah, it's like okay, cool. We're gonna be. What the hell's mutation? Ah, shit. Why
Weird
does?
animal choices on Shredder's part, but I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'd have gotten like a lion and like a gorilla or something, but
a rhinoceros. Well, a rhinoceros and a warhog are pretty. Like if you piss both of them off, they're pretty
yeah,
lethal.
they're pretty violent. Oh, hippo. Hippos are known for being like super violent and destructive. Hippo and a lion.
Yeah. So it's like so
That
it's
would be the animal.
one.
Those are the animals I would get. So do you have like a lion dude and like a hippo man?
Yeah. So it's like you have those. So you have both of those running around, and the thing is with so it's like the only thing is it's like you got the two most dim-witted guys to be the hippo and to be the rhinoceros and the warhawk.
Yeah.
So it's like that. But that's fine. It was 1980s. You needed like two lug nut henchmen to go with their master.
Yeah, they were created for the cartoon to be the silly comedy relief villains.
Yeah, so it's like they're the guys who like say like lunch. What do you mean? What, you mean lunch or lunch? I mean lunch. No, I mean lunch. Oh no! So it's
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, but in the comic books, they're just like two, just like like guns for hire, like assholes that work with the Witch Shredder.
Okay.
And I think like what ends up happening is like the something happens where they find something that they find some sort of relic that they can just go through time and they're just like okay, let's just fuck around with time. And then the Ninja Turtles are on hot pursuit with the find on hot pursuit through time because apparently that's a thing.
Turtles in time from the opposite from the bad guy's perspective.
Yeah, but they've done it before. They actually did an arc not too long ago that actually does like homage the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think also what they did is in the comic books they did do like an arc where they meet up with some sort of time traveler,
Yeah.
and it's like she's like a time princess. I forgot her name. Well, she's
Mhm.
infatuated with Michelangelo, and her whole thing is that she's a guardian of time, and she entrusts the Ninja Turtles with this item that can travel through time, and then Rocksteady and Bebop just fucking steal it, and now they're all in hot pursuit to get to fix time while they're fucking around with it.
You know what's sad? I now want to say that Ninja Turtles is canonical with Sailor Moon.
We can do
They're
that.
like a female with a magical time item that allows her to travel time and has weird tastes in men, and I'm like, Sailor Pluto? Because that's her whole deal. She has an object that allows her to travel time and she has weird taste in men. And she's friggin' hot. Yes, the few, the proud, the Sailor Pluto fans.
I like her.
Yeah, hells yes. She's the smart, sexy one, as
Yeah,
opposed to the smart, plain one.
yeah.
I don't like the smart, plain one. And everyone I know who likes the smart, plain one, I tend to put into a creeper category, which is sad because you're gonna say I like the smart, plain one. You like the smart, plain one, don't you?
Me? No, actually,
You're a
no.
Mercury fan, aren't you?
No, actually, I like
God.
Venus.
Good. Good man.
Cause like
You've
she
chosen.
like if there's any two characters I really that I would like end up with in like real life would be like an
Mhm.
Usagi like girl or a Minako like girl.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like
You. I can see that both those types of personalities would really work with you.
so if like if personality wise if you were to do something like that, that's who I would end up with like personally. So it's like I always gravitated towards either Usagi or Minako either Usagi or Minako. But if I was to choose anybody from the Outers, I definitely would pick Pluto because she's the kind of character I like as like a character.
Yeah.
Like she's a really awesome character, like well written and stuff
You've
like
also got
that.
so many levels, and then you also add in the fact that like her civilian persona is just teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there you go. Get sexy teacher thing going down too. Nice.
All right. Hey, dude. Look, I gotta walk my dog and stuff like that. I'm gonna ask you a
Yeah.
question.
Sure. Shoot.
We got one or two options. You remember make a decision quick.
Hmm.
You want to like just like give a quick break and then we'll come back and do like another game just for shits and giggles and we'll like, continue discussing things.
Hmm.
Or do you want to just like end the stream now because I kind of want to discuss something kind of off stream with you.
Yeah, we should probably end the stream because I'm sure dinner's gonna be popping up in a few minutes. I don't know what's being cooked, but I know something got started a little while ago,
All right.
so I don't
Well,
know how that's gonna screw up my schedule. So
so
yeah, go out walk the dog. Message me when you're back, and we can discuss business.
it's nothing too bad. I just want to I just want to finalize our schedules for this coming week for the E3 stuff.
Yeah.
Also,
Um,
something me and the boss lady have been talking about as well. See if we can actually implement that with what I'm gonna with our coverage.
Yeah, like I said, take care of the dog. I'm gonna check on dinner, and then we can meet up in like 10, 15 minutes, however long that takes,
Like
and have
15
a
minutes or
private
so.
conversation.
You get dinner. You'll see what's up with dinner and stuff like that, and then we'll
Yep.
head out. Okay. So with that said, that's Jared right there. I am Ramses. I'm sorry for anybody that's coming in that's just coming in. If you just see a sad screen of Wolverine about to be blasted by something, I'm sorry, but we are about to head out. I don't know if I'm gonna stream later because like I am jacked up to the gills on like Mountain Dew and Monster right now, and
And
soda.
I'll see if I can. I'll see if I can join you for at least a little while because, um, yeah, I'm in a better mood and what have you. And I'll just be setting. I'll just get my.
Yeah,
I'll
that's why
move on.
I'm in a streaming mood right now. It's like, but the thing is, I don't want to
Yeah.
stream my usual games. I kind of want to do like another like game, another dumb game right now. But we'll discuss it later.
Yeah.
Anyways, stay tuned. Just like if you're new to this channel, please give us a subscribe. That'd be really appreciative. Other than that, I'm Ramsey. Says Jared saying, see you later.